I'm so encouraged by the opening of the doors. There's so many things happening in this industry right now. More and more companies are finding that drones as a tool are a necessity, and people are starting to see that. And so I think that there's a lot more opportunities.
You're listening to the Drone Radio Show podcast, the show about drones and the people who use them for business, fun, and research. Hosted by Randy Goers.
Hello, everyone. This is Randy Goers, and welcome to the Drone Radio Show podcast, episode 281. What's it take to grow your brand in the drone industry? For that question, we turn to Desi Ekstein, founder of Go Video.biz, a drone services provider and educator for the UAS industry since 2015. Go Video provides consulting, training, and safety education services. I interviewed Desi 5 years ago when she had just entered the drone industry. At that time, her passion for drones earned her the nickname Drone Diva Desi. Over the years, that passion has continued to drive her forward. Since 2015, her list of accomplishments is impressive. Desi is one of the first women to obtain an FAA Certified 107 Remote Pilot Certificate and a member of the FAA Wings program. She is a graduate of the Good Seal UAV Ground School, a lead FAASTeam representative drone pro in San Diego, an AUVSI San Diego Board member, and an AUVSI Top Level 3 pilot. She is a UAS Operations instructor at TCI MiraCosta College and has a night endorsement. Desi is involved with several STEM and STEAM outreach programs, such as the Elementary Science Institute Girls Take Flight program for young women. She is also an advisor to Women in Drones. In this edition of the Drone Radio Show, Desi traces her path from part-time hobbyist to full-time commercial drone operator and educator. She shares her experiences, provides some advice and lessons learned, and shows that anyone with a passion and time can establish a successful presence in the drone industry. But before we hear from Desi, I want to thank those of you who are supporting my funding campaign. Whether it's $1, $100, or much more, you can help defray the cost of production and keep the podcast going and growing. Go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And by the way, if you have an idea for a great show and want to share your experience, please contact me at randy@droneradioshow.com. So let's learn how passion and a little time can lead to a successful and rewarding career in the drone industry with Desi Ekstein of Go Video. Let's pick up the interview where I asked Desi to introduce herself.
My name is Desi Ekstein. I'm also known as Drone Diva Desi. And I have been flying since 2012, and I have evolved through the time with the industry. And I'm now actually educating others in flying safe. Safety is very important to me. So I've done a lot of outreach programs. I do a lot with STEM. I am with the TCI MiraCosta College, and I am the aerial instructor for a program that is both underwater and aerial, but my portion is the aerial side of things. So I'm just excited. I'm excited to be a part of the community and seeing it growing and changing.
So Desi, let's talk about how you got into drones.
Well, when I first started out, I did the classic flying camera, and I love the new perspective. So I first started with an AR Parrot, and I quickly crashed an AR Parrot. And so I had one that I would be flying and one that I would be repairing. And my husband, bless his heart, he would always be climbing a tree to retrieve it, or the top of the roof or something. Lucky for me, I have evolved and my pilot skills have gotten very good since then. I'm now flying DJI, Autel, Parrots, and some other drones as well. And when I first started, it was just more about just getting that new perspective. And I wanted to make really epic videos. Most of them were home videos, and everybody loved to come watch my home videos. And then it evolved, and now I've gone through and did lessons in mapping and 3D modeling, which I absolutely love. And so the whole industry, I've evolved with it, and it's very exciting to see what potential they have and what's around the corner.
How did you go from lobbyist to becoming a part of the commercial drone industry?
Well, the FAA came along and said that if you were going to be using it for commercial purposes, you need to get the 333 exemption. So I've always been all about trying to do things right. So I went out and got a 333 exemption. And part of that caveat was you had to be or have in your program a Part 61 pilot. Well, I was not. So I attempted to do the lighter than air method, and I went through the course, started out to do hot air balloons, and I quickly realized that they were very heavy. And then also my first experience in the air with one, we had a propane leak and I had to come down. So I thought, well, I'm better off keeping my feet on the ground and my head in the clouds. So lucky for me, it wasn't that much longer until there was word of the 107 coming. And once we made that hurdle over to the 107, I was 100% on board and just going and going. I loved helping others. I loved being able to be there when somebody first gets a drone, they open that box and look at it and go, oh, what's this? And giving them that first-hand, let's get out there and get on the sticks, that experience. And then it evolved, and I became part of another program called Girls Take Flight, which is phenomenal. I absolutely love the program. It's in San Diego, and they are youth, 16-year-olds that have not flown before. And through this program, they are able to get their 107 if they pass, but they get the education and the training for it. We teach them how to fly, and by the end, they also can get a stipend that would be enough for them to get a drone or apply it to a college or something of that sort. So that program just really inspired me to do more and reach out and teach and educate others. And then I ended up with the opportunity to teach at MiraCosta College. And again, I just love that first, I haven't flown before and I just need to know, how do I start? And so this program gets the students going, and by the time they're done, they have an opportunity to test and get their 107, and they've got the flight stick skills, and they go on from there. And I get super excited when I see the students that I've had become so successful. I have so many students that are out there actually working in the industry, and it's just so phenomenal.
For the Girls Take Flight program, what can you tell us about the students that take the course?
This is a community of young ladies that would not normally have an opportunity for a program like this. So they actually come through and do like a 1 week drone camp. And there's several of the young ladies that go through this drone camp. And from that, they can apply for the practicum to do the Girls Take Flight. So they actually have to go through and prove that they really have a desire to do this and that they'll stick with it, because it's not easy, as you can imagine. Just learning the 107 and all the FAA rules and regulations is like learning a whole new language. And so they have to give sufficient notice that they would really want to continue with a program like this. And so once they've applied and they've been accepted, then we narrow it down to just 10 of the young ladies. And so then we start the program. And the program typically would be more like 22 weeks. However, this year is a little bit different.
So right now, what type of activities are you involved with?
So in general, I am teaching the 107 material. I teach the mapping and 3D modeling. I'm also on the FAA UAS safety drone pro for San Diego. And so it kind of worked out where once we transitioned into online webinars, I've been able to actually host several of them. So San Diego has been doing one once a month now, where we actually can do drone pros and let people in the San Diego area reach out to us and ask questions. And it's been working out really well. Not quite as good as obviously hands-on, but I'm very excited about the amount of responses that we get for people that are signing up for these webinars through the FAA.
Who are the classes geared to?
I'm not actually doing classes. They're just webinars that are an outreach for everybody, but it is actually geared for anyone. So if you've actually signed up through the FAA through the Wings program, you'll automatically get sent these notices when they come out. And so a lot of times it's people that are already working in the industry and just want to stay up on knowledge. They want to stay networking. And we've provided, because of the type of webinars that we've done, they've reached out to different types of people, whether they're just starting out, or the last one we just did was about the gig economy and how do you get to work while you're out there? What are some ways that we can actually work? Another one we did was what locations can you actually fly? And so we kind of target in on a subject, but we welcome anything and anybody. I like to have questions in advance so that we can actually reach out and really answer the questions that are being asked in the community.
What excites you about the industry today compared to when you started 5 years ago?
I see a lot of opening doors right now. Right now, I'm very excited because there's so many opportunities, and all of it, like anything that you do, the harder you work, the more opportunities there will be. You can't just sit there and think that things are just going to fall in your lap. But I'm so encouraged by the opening of the doors. There's so many things happening in this industry right now. And so even, package delivery and just using drones as a tool, more and more companies are finding that drones as a tool are a necessity. And obviously they remove a lot of risk for sending human into certain situations and such. And people are starting to see that. And so I think that the perception has gotten much better because of that. And there's a lot more opportunities, utility inspections and such like that. There are just so many more opportunities now than there have been. So it's just a matter of time before there's more and more and more.
How would you characterize the opportunities for women in the drone industry?
Small growth, but growth, which is super exciting. Yeah, I've seen growth. It's kind of fun in my own class at the college. Each time we have one cohort in and another one starts, there's always been one more female in the class. But the statistics show that the numbers are growing. And so I'm very encouraged with that as well, because I think people are being more receptive to that. And then through Women in Drones, we are doing also a coffee connection, which has worked out really well, where people are networking with us. They come in and it's all virtual, it's online, but it's like a networking opportunity. And it's open to men and women. But I think people are starting to see the value that the women are offering and the pilot skills, but even beyond that. And so I think the numbers are going to continue to grow.
In addition to Women in Drones, what other organizations are you working with?
I am a safety advisor for them. And then I do the coffee connection that I just mentioned. And so I'm also hosting some of the webinars that they are putting out. Women in Drones has really expanded and doing a lot more outreach right now. And our network has grown. And the things that we're offering has also grown. So there's job postings in there. You can become a member and you have access to quite a few resources now. And so it's good to see that people are starting to see the insight of, wow, there's so many more things that Women in Drones can do for you.
I see you're also a member of the AUVSI Top Program. What is that?
It is a safety training program, and there's 3 levels to it. And level 1 is when you enter is just having basically your 107. You've got knowledge of airspace and general FAA rules and regulations. Level 2 steps it up a little bit more, and that puts into more of a practical flight assessment, a little deeper knowledge of the airspace, your rules and regulations and such like that. So you really have to kind of step up your efforts there. And then level 3 is more of a industry specific. And so I'm pretty excited because I am a AUVSI Top Level 3 pilot, and there aren't really a lot of them out there. So the numbers are growing again. But the thing that I like best about the AUVSI program is it has safety and pilot skills that are measurable and accountable. And that, to me, from a safety aspect, is very important. You need to have something to gauge the skill level and the understanding and the knowledge of what you're trying to showcase. And so that's why I've really, really kind of pushed the whole AUVSI Top program because of the accountability that it puts into effect.
Do they have an obstacle course or something like that to test a person's flying ability?
Yes. So that is actually how they make it measurable, is you have certain tasks that have to be performed. They have to be performed within a time limit and within a measurable distance. You can't just fly willy-nilly and say, oh, that was a circle when it looked more like a square. So, but it is all accounted for, and it is within a time frame, and you have slight variances, but you still have to be within that measured out area. And so again, it's accountable and measurable, and that's very important when you're trying to assess someone's skills.
How's your own business grown over the last several years? It's called On the Go Video, right?
Yes, on the Go Video.biz, and it's grown. Yay! It's grown, but it's also morphed into different directions. So like I said, in the beginning, it was all about, let me just go fly, get that higher perspective. I love that I can make videos for people and all that. But as I grew with the industry and I saw how much more potential was out there, I now offer so much more in services. So the company itself does the mapping, the modeling. I'm PIX4D certified, and so we can offer some training. I use drone deploy as well, and so we can go out and map in various different ways. We offer deliverables, and so the company has grown a lot of different directions, and so I'm excited to see what else is coming up in the future, because there's just so much more potential out there now.
I'm really impressed with the skills that you've acquired. They've really grown over the past several years.
Yes, they have. So, okay, let me tell you a little story about my personal side too. So my husband is I like to say he's a gold digger. But he's actually a prospector, and he owns a couple of gold claims. And so because of that, the whole thing of us going out into the desert, and we just have a really big appreciation for history and the mining industry and some of the older ghost towns and such like that. Well, the thing that we like to do when we're not working is actually going out and doing the 3D modeling and reproducing these gold mining claims and preserving history of what's out there. And so it's kind of one of those things that's really we've developed on the side because of the potential of what the drones can do and using it as a tool. But we just really appreciate the history and what the mapping and modeling can do to preserve that history.
What do you feel has been the biggest reasons behind your success?
Dedication and persistence. I didn't give up. That's the main thing. You just got to keep on going.
So there were a lot of challenges?
Well, I think just the industry as a whole, there's a lot of just keep going at it and keep going and keep going and start building and networking. And I think I have personally just seen so much advancement within the last year. I think it's really, really, people are starting to realize the value. And so because of that, in the beginning, it was hard to get over that hurdle, that perception of what drones were. And occasionally you still have it where that's a really cool toy. And you go, well, this is like pretty expensive to be a toy, but okay. But I think that perception is changing. And so because of that, the industry is really opening up. Whereas in the beginning, it was just really hard to take off that direction. And so I think that's my biggest thing.
When people meet you for the first time, what are some of the questions they ask you?
A lot of times it used to be the classic, oh, how far can you go? And I guess it still is. And of course, you got to say, not beyond visual line of sight. But I think people are starting to be a bit more aware of that type of information. And I think more now what I'm seeing, instead of them coming up to me so much, is I come up to them and I see people out flying. And because I feel so much about safety and outreach, it's surprising how many people get that drone and do not know the rules and regulations. And so I tend to go up and just start kind of conversations and just kind of find out, do you guys know what's really allowed right here? And so I think a lot of them push the envelope and they like to fly well beyond visual line of sight and obviously over 400 feet. And so I like to be the one to approach and just kind of give them some guidance.
Is there anything that you're planning now? Anything that's coming up new for your professional life?
I am working with Women in Drones and our Coffee Connection, and it's expanded. We're also doing some webinars that are expanding. And then I am toying around with the idea of a new youth program that is highlighting youth. And so it's amazing when you see the younger generation actually grasping the whole drones and just AI in particular. I guess they're like a sponge. They soak up everything. And it's so inspirational to me to see that they're our future and they're so excited about it and they just love it and love learning about it. And so I hope to be able to do something to showcase that.
Is there anything that we missed that we should talk about?
I think we pretty much covered everything. I'm excited to be the San Diego FAA Drone Pro down there. I'm excited about the outreach programs. I hope to be able to be in a position where people can reach out to me, because even if I don't have the answers, I have enough resources that I can reach out and ask people. And so the more people ask me questions, the better I can do for them to reaching out and giving answers, because they may not be the only ones asking questions. So I'm excited to be on that program and to be the drone pro there at San Diego.
What do you have to do to be a drone pro?
You go through the FAA and you get approved, but you're basically saying that you have enough drone knowledge that people can come to you and ask questions. And the FAA is looking for one, they want to do outreach programs, and it's a way to have a voice be heard. So the people in the community, we're the ones that are actually in it. We're the ones out there. We're more visible. And so it's a way for the FAA to say, okay, what are some of the questions that are being asked? What are some of the situations that are coming up? And we are, as a drone pro, we're able to identify those. So it's kind of a way of just educating the general public as to, hey, this is what's safe and this is what's not.
Do you create any of the content for the webinars yourself?
I'm actually a total volunteer The drone pros are volunteer, and it's pretty much my thing. I just have to get approval from the director that I work with. And once the program manager says, yes, that subject is good, I pretty much get to run the safety side that I want. And because I'm so geared with safety, I try really hard to make sure that everything we do is really focused on that side.
From your perspective, when we talk about safety, what is the one thing that people seem to ignore?
I think it's mainly just the beyond visual line of sight. I literally just had a young kid just got a Mavic Mini and right here in my neighborhood. And my husband, I have him trained, that he spots drones now. He's the best VO ever. And so sure enough, somebody took off with a drone and he said, hey, there goes one. And we watched it for a bit and it clearly went over 500 or 400 feet. And it looked like it was more like 500 and way beyond visual line of sight. So again, like I said, I try to find people, not that I'm trying to hunt them down. I just like to find out, okay, are you even aware that the rules and regulations are out there? And so this particular opportunity, I thought turned out so well because we were able to find him. He was a younger kid and he was well beyond visual line of sight. So he brought it back and we landed and we talked about it. And to me, again, he's one of the people that I look at and I think this is the younger generation and there's so much potential. He was very smart, very knowledgeable, good pilot. And I thought, does he even know the possibilities in aviation that he could have, the doors that could open up for him? And so it was a really, really good conversation with him.
With all of the restrictions imposed by the pandemic, how has that changed the way you do business?
Well, for me, I was very lucky because I have a flying facility literally right out my back door. And I am in Class G airspace. So I have still been able to continue. Plus, at the college, we are essential. And so we've restricted some of the way that we've worked together. We do the social distancing and definitely put all that safety protocol into it. But we've still been able to continue. We've just restructured it. And that even turned out well for the students because now they even get more flight time. They get more stick time because it's just more concentrated on them and they're not sharing with so many other students in the class. So it's worked out well for the classroom as well.
What's the future look like?
I would have to say package delivery. I know that's the hot topic. I know that's what everybody says, but it is exciting because every time you turn around, you find new companies doing it and they are delivering medical supplies, which are a huge need. And that's just so essential. And then I've even met people that are doing birthday in a box, so it's just so many from one end of the spectrum to the other. And so I think that is a huge hurdle that we will be crossing over as we move forward in the industry.
Do you see yourself somehow getting involved with drone delivery?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know as I have the right drone for it. I have some connections for some people that are kind of working that direction. So I hope to maybe tag along with them a bit. Yes.
Speaking of the drones, when I first interviewed you, I think you had 10 or 11 drones, which at the time was a lot. Now, are you still collecting drones?
Well, it's changed a lot. I have quite a few more drones, but you have to think because I'm actually doing a lot of training now that I don't get just one of one kind. It's like you have 8 Mavic Minis. You know what I mean? It's not like so the inventory has definitely grown. It's just not like it was back then. When we talked before, I was just going through every DJI drone that came out at the time, P2, P3, P4, And so for me personally, I actually have stopped at the Inspire 2 And so that's probably the biggest drone that I have. And that's because it has been very beneficial for everything that I do. And I can put different cameras on it. And lucky for me, I still have an Export S camera, so I can do a lot of mapping. And so it's done everything for me. And so that's the kind of where I stopped with my personal growth of drones.
What advice would you give to someone that is thinking about getting into the industry today?
Definitely learn the drone that you're going to be using, learn all about the mechanics of it and what its abilities are and what it can do. And of course, learn the safety side of things. See how you can be a safe, proficient pilot and where some resources are that you can share that. Once you get that knowledge, share it and reach out to others as well.
And for my final question, Desi, what message would you like to leave regarding the drone industry?
Be safe, but have fun with it, because you want to make sure that you still have that passion in there and you're making sure that you're on the side of safety, but still keep within safety and have fun with it.
That's it for episode 281 of the Drone Radio Show. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Desi Ekstein of On The Go Video. I want to thank Desi for taking the time to speak with me. If you want to learn more about Desi's story or want to connect with her, check out the webpage at onthegovideo.biz. If you like the Drone Radio Show, please consider supporting the podcast with a small donation. The content is always free, but for as little as $1, you can help defray the cost of production. To donate, go to droneradioshow.com/donate. And thanks for listening. Your support means a lot to me, and I hope you'll listen to more episodes of the Drone Radio Show podcast to hear how others are using drones for business, fun, and research. For the Drone Radio Show, I'm Randy Goers.
This has been the Drone Radio Show podcast. More information on today's show can be found on our website at www.droneradioshow.com. If you're using drone technology for business, fun, or research and would like to share your experience on the show, please visit our website and fill out a guest appearance application. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite social media channels.